Inside this unassuming, deceptively small building at Jasper, Indiana, is the largest county museum in the state of Indiana. How big, you ask? It is 50,000 square feet of displays. That's 2,000 square feet larger than a football field. It is absolutely massive. Be prepared to spend several hours walking, and even longer if you like to stop and read. Without even trying, I spent over 3 hours here. There are 2 floors of collections, ranging from prehistory to pioneers to modern times. And below ground, there's even a recreated town. The basement is so large that they could fit a 2-story cabin down there. If you love history, this is the Smithsonian of County Museums, the Dubois County Museum. On the first floor, you are greeted by a buffalo. I did not ask if he had a name. The area that is now Dubois County was once part of an ancient trail for migrating buffalo, now known as the Buffalo Trace. It was so flattened by thousands of these fat, healthy buffalo that Native Americans used it as a road, as did pioneers that came later. In fact, these trails were later made into highways, so when you're cruising along these roads, you can think a fat buffalo. The Native Americans that followed the buffalo left many artifacts. Local resident Thomas J. Fromey collected this amazing collection of arrowheads for over 73 years of his life. There's also a section about Dubois County archaeology and ancient items found by an Indiana University study at Portersville. You might wonder who this handsome guy is and why his face is plastered on the wall. This is Toussaint Dubois. He is why Dubois County is called Dubois County. People might have messed up his name a little. Born in Montreal, Canada, he fought in the American Revolutionary War, the Battle of Tippecanoe, and the War of 1812. He was pretty hardcore. And why not name your county after someone hardcore like that? There is a lot of information to consume here. You will have to pace yourself. If you're not from Dubois County, you may not know that Dubois County has deep and early German roots. In the 1800s, so many German people settled in Dubois County that it was said they came flying in like snowflakes. They traveled from Europe on ships, spending 3 weeks in tiny accommodations. Can you imagine doing 3 weeks in something like this? Some people can't do 3 hours in a minivan with their own kids. They wore wooden shoes like these. They don't seem all that comfy. They're not exactly a pair of Keds. You can view a variety of items related to early German settlement. You can see what kind of clothes they would have worn. These kids need to loosen up. They look a little tightly wound. You can see renowned German craftsmanship. Not only can you research your Dubois County family tree, you can also find where your ancestors actually lived, courtesy of this huge map. Names of early property owners are located on tiny grids. I can't even imagine the hours and patience it took to make this. The next section is completely different. It celebrates Dubois County athletes, from local heroes to those that went on to national fame. There is a beautiful cobalt blue room honoring Dubois County women who have demonstrated exemplary leadership. There is also a small section about Ida Hagen. Ida was an amazing woman. She graduated Huntingburg High School in only 1 year. She was the first African American to graduate from a Dubois County school. She became a licensed pharmacist at just 20 years old, making her the youngest in U.S. history. In fact, she and her husband opened 2 drugstores in Indianapolis. She also went on to become the first female postmaster in U.S. history. And by 1965, she became part of the civil rights movement. She never sat on her accomplishments and continued to break barriers for both women and African Americans. This display tells the remarkable story of Clara Byrne. Her husband was the sheriff of Dubois County. When he died unexpectedly, she took his place as sheriff. When the term was over, she ran for sheriff in 1955 and won, serving a total of 5 years as Dubois County Sheriff. She paved the way for other women that want careers in law enforcement. The next gallery is a retro look of items made around Dubois County that provided jobs and income to local people. Check out this TV. It was a very long time before flat screen TVs, and these were heavy. While the artificial heart was not invented in Dubois County, one of the first models, the Jarvik 7, was transplanted into Jasper, Indiana native William Schrader. He lived 1 year and 255 days, the longest of any artificial heart recipient. His tombstone at Fairview Cemetery displays a picture of the Jarvik 7. If you love military history, you are in luck. The museum has an impressive collection of both uniforms and other relics going back to the Civil War. Have you ever heard of a war horse? War horses were used in World War I when non-armored cavalry was still a thing. And no, I did not ask if he had a name. This is a very special flag. It was used during the Civil War by Indiana Regiment Company K during one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War, Gettysburg. The battle was immortalized by Abraham Lincoln's speech, the Gettysburg Address. Believe it or not, we're only halfway through this gigantic museum, and an even larger section is downstairs. In fact, an entire city. Underground is a small city, Main Street, Dubois County. Walking the streets and looking inside the buildings show how things used to be. Inside this large museum is a cabin built in the 1860s, and you can tour the inside. Around the cabin are items that Dubois County pioneers would have used in their everyday life. Check this out. This is a machine that used the family dog to make butter, but not like you think. The dog would walk on the treadmill, and the machine would do the rest. These dogs made butter. Your dog won't even roll over to impress guests. At different times of the year, demonstrations are given about the skills used by Dubois County pioneers, from woodworking to processing meat and so much more. There's a blacksmith shop. Silversmithing equipment. And even an apple press, where you can put the fenceless apples in and squeeze the apple juice right out of them. And lastly, stone cutting, used to build bridges, homes, and businesses. You know, unless you're really trying hard to be contrary, you will learn something here. One section of the museum is dedicated to fishing, hunting, and expeditions, with a large part donated by the Frank Fromey Jr. estate. This gigantic polar bear was killed by Frank in 1969. And here's a fun fact. Polar bears are the largest land predator in North America, and underneath all that fluffy fur, their skin is completely black. Frank spent a lot of time in Africa on game expeditions. And here's a story for the campfire. The story was that a large rogue elephant of immense size attacked the village, and Frank saved the day with one shot. He later made chairs with the legs because, why not? There are also many specimens from other Dubois County sportsmen. The museum has a nice collection of antique cars and wagons. Surely you'll find something just your speed. But a museum about Dubois County would not be complete without a farm equipment exhibit. Farmers have built the county from the ground up. The museum would also not be complete without a section on scouting. Both Boy Scout and Girl Scout organizations have developed countless young people into community leaders. As you walk through the museum, be sure to stop and look at the amazing murals. They detail the towns that make up Dubois County. This massive project was completed by Alice Kemper, Tom Schum, and Kim Schum Schrader. And finally, there's a children's discovery area where kids can walk into a one-room schoolhouse as if they went back in time to the 1800s. At the Little Pioneer section, kids can learn about the past while they have fun. They can even try on some pioneer clothes if they want to. They can load their boat with supplies, like Lewis and Clark, on their famous expedition out west. Or just sit on the floor and hear a good story. There's also a model train exhibit right next door. And after all the things we've covered, there's even a large space for temporary exhibits. There's something for everyone at the Dubois County Museum, Indiana's largest county museum. If you have the time, it is truly something to see and worth a road trip.